to February, Club Shay Shay was just really one of the highlights of the year because Monique came through. And I mean, there was a lot of ramifications from that Monique interview. I don't even think I ever put on here the fact that at some point her son, who she is estranged from, started speaking out, and there was like a back and forth with them, and all of that came from this Club Shay Shay interview. And I definitely think Monique might have did some harm to the reputations of people like, you know, Oprah, who she brought up, Lee Daniels, and people like that, who she brought up, Tyler Perry. But Monique kind of also shot herself in the foot with this interview as well, because I started looking at her very differently once her son came out with his story about their estrangement and why that is.
Which honestly, I think he said this too, he would have never said anything if she didn't basically kind of like paint the picture as he didn't want the relationship as she was trying. Which, I mean, from his testimony and clearly from her and her husband coming out, like it was clear that this is on her doing. And I don't care if you are the parent, I put the blame on you.
Yeah.
This period, point blank. Like I just put blame on you.
I feel like outside of some extenuating circumstances, it is usually the parents' fault when there is some type of estrangement. And I think something that people started to realize was a common theme in all of Monique's problems with other people is that, oh, I'm so innocent, I never did anything to them, I don't know why they're treating me like this. And it's like, at some point, like, if you're always having problems, like you might be the common denominator in those problems. And I kind of think that's what people kind of started to peep. Not to say that other people were totally blameless either, but Monique has just never, from what I've heard, been able to take any type of accountability for her responsibility in any of these relationships, including the one with her son, which is wild. And like you said, that's exactly why he decided to speak out, because he was very offended that there was no accountability taken on her part whatsoever. So
not once. Because totally agree. It reminds me of that the insecure lady, that everybody is against her and she's always the victim. And two things can be true. Like, you could have gotten screwed over by somebody, but when it's you versus several different people in several different aspects, like at some point we got to look at the mirror here. Like, what is going on?
Exactly. But that was another fantastic Club Shay Shay interview. And look,
they was say in the beginning of the year
eating up, and people can say what they want about Shannon Sharp as an interviewer, but it's something about him that makes people just open up to him and just be honest and real, so at least from their perspective of what's going on. And I kind of like that he's not like a traditional journalist with the traditional like safe questions. Like, he asks whatever he wants, whatever he's on his mind, he's gonna ask them about it, and that's exactly what he does. And I think that's why his interviews are so good, because at least for the most part, the people that he talks to are people that he has some type of relationship with or are familiar with, so he knows the type. Most of the time, I think he knows what to ask, and I think he does a good job at asking those questions. I haven't felt a lot of times that I'm like, dang, I wish he would have asked this or that, because most of the time he asks the nosy ass questions that we all be wanting to know anyway, and they tell it. So
it comes more off as you're in on a conversation with a friend group. It's not really, he doesn't really come with like hard hitting questions to like put somebody in a corner or whatever.
Right.
So I think people feel a lot more comfortable to open up
100%. Because he's not attacking them, and he makes them feel safe, and I think that is huge. So shout out to Uncle Shannon. Also, we had Usher performing the Super Bowl halftime show. That was so exciting. I think it might have been the first time I've ever seen anybody do it on roller skates. I'm not iconic, that, but that's the first time I remember that. It was so iconic. I thought he did a great job. And that was definitely a really great part of the Super Bowl. Like, I only watched for the halftime stuff. So
it wasn't in Atlanta either. Just FYI, since we talking about artists that need to perform in their home city. Just saying.
It wasn't in Atlanta.
It was not in Atlanta. I think it was in Vegas.
Oh, I think you might be
Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure it was in Vegas. Would that be 2024 Super Bowl, or is that considered 2024 season?
They were yeah, they were in Las Vegas. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
FYI, just saying, as we get to
Mm-hmm.
the fall of more Young Money stuff, but
just throwing that out there.
Super Bowl has been in Atlanta before. I just saying.
Yes, and I mean, Usher is quite literally the king of Atlanta, but that has no bearing on.
He literally brought Atlanta to that stage. I mean, with the roller skating, that's really huge in Atlanta. So
that's why I think I forgot that it wasn't in Atlanta, because it felt so Atlanta. It really, really did. But again, I love to get there. Little nugget. A little nugget in there, a little teaser for later. Okay, so obviously the highlight of the Super Bowl, no shade to Usher whatsoever, but
I'm glad it was after the
right. Beyonce, she's a classy queen, okay?
Queen,
yes. Usher is her boy. She's not gonna do him dirty,
right?
But Beyonce had I believe it was a Verizon commercial, which was so cute, and at the end she was like, "Okay, now drop the new music," and I swear the world stopped. The world
scrambling between streaming services.
We were scrambling. We said, "Hold up!" Like, we knew she did not say that for no reason.
She's a calculated queen.
Calculated queen. She dropped 2 songs, Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages, and also announced Act 2, Cowboy Carter. Oh my gosh! I swear my heart stopped. That was such a moment. I was excited.
Did we get the date for the album release too that day?
I'm not sure if we got the date. I know we probably knew it was gonna come like soon, like in March, but I don't know if we had the exact date. Knowing Beyonce, we probably did. She probably just let it all out. But yeah, that was, oh my god, that was so good. And I don't care what nobody say, I still love Texas Hold'em. It was in one of my top songs of this year. Amazing Love, Texas Hold'em. Like, I still love that song.
It's so good. It's so good. It definitely was at the top. Funny, like foreshadowing, all of my top 3 songs was diss tracks, and I posted it on Threads, and somebody was like, "What kind of year was you having? Why is it top 3 songs diss tracks?"
Beef was Myra's theme of 2024. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was such a moment. We were scrambling.
And I wish we could go back to that. It was such a happy moment.
So yeah. And she was just at the stadium, just on her phone, because she was at Super Bowl, just drop the new music.
Literally, we seen that woman press the button.
Ate us up. Ate us up. Oh, that was such a moment. That was such a moment. Oh my gosh. One of the highlights for sure of February, and literally the singular event that turned TikTok into a long form video platform was Who the Fuck Did I Marry by Reese Tisa. Yeah, I mean, it was like 45 parts or something like that.
It somewhere in the 40s for sure. It was a lot of different parts, and mind you, like each part was like 10 to 15 minutes at least.
Was the max amount of time for a video. And I don't think I started watching until she was maybe on like part like 15, 20 or something.
I was
like
well into it.
Yeah. So I got to binge for like a whole day. I just binged all the parts that were out, and then literally every single day when she would come out with more and more parts, like it literally just took over our lives. It took really over our lives.
Yeah. Took over the platform. I would say completely took over the platform, which
sure did.
I'm so happy for her. She's been doing so well. Still following her to this day.
Yep.
I mean, she had the Paris trip, the London trip. We had what was this? Legion. We had Legion come out, try to give his side of the story. It really shows, I think, the first 2 months, like with how long Club Shay Shay episodes are, and this like 40 plus parts, or was it 52? I don't know.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah. It goes to show that it's not that folks have a low attention span. If you have the good content, folks are going to sit around and listen or watch your good content.
Absolutely. Exactly. She definitely saved the what people thought of our attention spans at this point because we was locked in. We were locked in. I I mean, I was at work. I literally was listening to TikTok like it was a podcast.
Oh, I count this as an
Literally.
audiobook that I
Yeah,
read this year.
exactly. Exactly. It
Legit.
was. It was so
Yeah.
good. And I'm so glad when Legion came out, when nobody paying no attention to him and did nobody care. Like, we was like, boy, bye. Boy,
Yeah, like
bye.
why are you doing an interview? Like all these major corporations or major
Mm-hmm.
publications were trying to reach out to you and you said no, but some random person on YouTube, that's who I'm gonna go
Because
with.
he was full of shit. Because
Full
he
of
was
it.
full of it. And I like that a lot of, because there are a lot of pages on TikTok who their whole purpose is to like take something long form and make it more like digestible for people who just want some, like who just wanted a
Mhm.
2-minute synopsis of the whole situation. A lot of those pages and some of the prominent ones were like, no, like especially since they were like non-black people who do that, and this was a black
Oh
woman telling
yeah,
her
like Cliff
story.
Notes girl, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Mhm.
her specifically being like, this is not my story to make smaller for y'all. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. And she was very, very respectful of her. So I was like, yeah, that's a real one. That is
And
a real
honestly,
one.
I don't feel like you could shorten it. Like the amount of stuff that
You
she
need
went
the
through, yeah,
details.
you
You
have
need
to
the
like
details.
get into it to understand it. And unfortunately, if you don't want to go through all the parts, then maybe this is something you just gonna have to miss, and that's okay.
Exactly. And you
People
know
want to
what?
be in the know, but want to get a shorter version. Like,
I remember a lot of big creators being like, I ain't watching all that. I ain't watching all that. And then when they saw everybody else watching and talking about it,
hopped
they
on.
caved.
Yep.
They caved and
Yep.
they watched it. So yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
but
A
that was
lot of
such a
people was
time.
eating during that. A lot of like reactions to videos to
Uh-huh.
watching it. But yeah, it was really such a time.
It was a time. But yeah, shout out to Risa T. So, like you said, I'm so happy to see her
Mhm.
still doing so well and prospering. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say she just recently like left her full-time job. Like she didn't even like leave her job or anything right away. I want to say I think I just heard recently that she left her full-time
Yeah, like within the
job.
past few weeks, like
Yeah,
technically, yeah. So yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah. Uh the only thing we have for the planner community for February is the return of the EC seasonal surprise box. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I don't remember nothing about this box. I don't remember nothing because y'all know we don't really do surprise boxes anymore. No shade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
I
I don't
don't.
remember. I don't
I
remember anything
rem
about
I
it.
remember us not being too excited about it coming back. I
Yeah.
think I think people were though. I think people were wanting the surprise box, but I
Mm-hmm.
also think they changed it up a bit if I'm not mistaken. Like it's not how it used to be. Like
Yeah,
you
I
have
think it was
different
some changes.
options and you can see a
Yeah.
few items or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, how's that going?
Who knows? I don't know. I don't
Did
know.
they have a winner fall?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so. I feel like we would know about it, but don't
Yeah.
quote us because who
Yeah,
really
I feel
knows?
like there was this one, and then maybe another one. I don't feel like I heard.
Mm-hmm.
But I could just be, out of the loop. Not trying to say it hasn't happened. I just don't recall.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm not sure either.